Who got up from the Championship 2023 season? Well, I'm here for that question. So, we have around 8 more games left to go in the Championship season. I know some teams say 37 games played. They're just catch-up games. So there is literally 8 more games left. There's literally, I can't believe I'm saying this. There's 8 more games left in the season. This season has flown by. Um, but what gets interesting now is looking at every team going into this last 8 fixtures of games, looking at all the teams, looking at how many points they've got, looking at their form, and looking, obviously, if they're fit to get through to the playoffs or maybe automatic spots. So I'm going to go with Leeds United here, and we're only going to go up to probably. We're going to cut the line off at Watford. So first to 13th. I know Watford might not have a big chance at all, but we're going to see. We're going to see. You know, maybe Watford's just won their first game in like forever. So, you know, maybe Watford will turn form and they'll win every 8 games, I don't know. So Leeds United are now first, are now top of the table because Leicester have been on some horrific form. They did win 1-0 against Sunderland, but then they did draw 2-2 against Hull, which is, and we'll talk about Hull later. Yeah, Leeds are now top of the table. Leeds have been flying. Like, I'm pretty sure they're the most informed team in the Premier League. And it's difficult because the Championship is so unpredictable. It is. I mean, you literally had Leicester drawing with Hull a year ago or 2 years ago. Leicester were competing for Europe. Leicester would be nowhere near drawing with Hull. You know, that's the Championship for you. Leeds United. I mean, I think they're basically guaranteed to go up now, whether it be in the playoffs or the automatic spots. And which brings up to Leicester. Leicester, same points as Leeds. Leicester 7 games lost, 26 games won, and 4 draws in the campaign. Obviously, picking up their 4th draw against Hull when it drew 2-2. Leicester won some abysmal form in the last couple of weeks. They lost 3 games in a row, then they won a game, then they drew a game. So it's still very confusing, and I mean, Leicester's next fixture is Bristol. I see them getting to, you know, the high 90s in the Premier League season. Those got Premier League. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I feel like Leicester will still go up. I feel like Leicester will either finish first or second. I did have them winning the league, but you know, I'm not sure now. Going on to the dark horses, Ipswich Town. They went up. It's crazy with Ipswich Town. They went up from League One last season, and their thing was just surviving the Championship. Mate, you've got into the playoffs in your first season of the Championship. That's crazy. I mean, Ipswich have lost the fewest amount of games. We're only 5 games lost, which is crazy. I thought they lost like loads of games. Or more than that. Ipswich Town, 81 points, and all at the top, 82 points, 82 points, 81 points. So if Leeds and Leicester both lose the next game, and Ipswich win, we're flying up to the top of the table. I know Ipswich have got no games in hand, but you know, I don't know if I'm not sure if they need them. I mean, they're definitely going to get into the playoffs, aren't they? I still don't think they're going to go up. They're definitely going to get into the playoffs. I mean, 81 points definitely secures you playoffs. So yeah, Ipswich, it's looking good for them. Only one loss in their 5 games. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Now going to Southampton with 73 points. Southampton are 9 points off the top of the table, and they are 8 points off third. But it's because of Southampton's weird little run where they lost 2 games in a row. I think they lost to Liverpool in the FA Cup, but that's not something to be bad about. Liverpool are amazing this season. Um, Southampton, um, in some, in some, you know, in some form. A win, and then they lost 2 on the bounce, and then they won 2 of their recent games, which puts them 73 points. I mean, I still think 73 points will still get you playoffs. I They could go. They could get. No, I'm not saying that. They're not gonna get top 2. They're gonna go into the playoffs, and yeah, they'll probably do it from the playoffs. But it'll be very interesting to see Southampton in the last couple of games. But they do have 10 games to play, as their games were postponed. Either the Preston game. I think there was a fire outside the stadium, and then I think there's a postponed game because of the FA Cup. Yeah, with West Brom, kind of, it's weird with West Brom. They're not, they're not close to top 4, but they're not letting anyone get to 5th place. West Brom are literally the 5th best team, and I do think they do get playoffs. I mean, they're probably 2 wins away from getting the playoffs. If they don't get playoffs now, it's going to be crazy. Um, West Brom are in some amazing form, absolutely amazing form. 66 points, 19 wins, 9 draws, and 10 losses. Of the whole of the championship season, 38 games, only 10 losses. That's something to be proud for. West Brom, though, I mean, they obviously won't get top 2. I feel like they will finish in the playoffs, and it'll be interesting for them. It'll be interesting because Norwich are not like on their tails, but they're kind of close. Which brings us up to Norwich City. Norwich are in some amazing form. Norwich, 10 games to go, and or about 10 games to go. I think it's maybe 8 now. 61 points, only 13 losses. I remember, like, back in December, they were like 14th in the championship table. But I mean, form can change, and I do think Norwich will get to the playoffs this season. It'll be fun to go up again, because then we can just beat them like 8-0. But yeah, that's Norwich for you. They'll definitely get into the playoffs, and I think they will challenge even to get to Wembley. Now on to Hull City, 7th place. Hull City are in a. How do I start? They First of all, they drew against Leicester. Against Leicester. That's something to be proud for yourself already. They haven't lost in 5 games of their last 5 games, but they have drawn quite a lot. Like they've. It's weird to say, but Hull's only won 1 out of their 5 games because they've drawn the other 4. And drawing isn't bad, but it still isn't good. I mean, without those 4 draws in their 5 games, they would be on less points. But they need to, consistently churn out wins. I'm not quite sure what their next fixtures, but I predict. I mean, I predict. How we're gonna get. Maybe 3 more wins this season. No, 8th, Coventry. Coventry made it to the to Wembley last season in the playoff final, but they did lose to Luton on penalties. Coventry are in some interesting form. They've lost 2 out of their last 5 games, but they've also won 3 out of their last 5 games. No draws in their last 5 games. Coventry, 57 points. It's good. It's a good season for them. I do think, in my predictions, I do think they will fall a bit short, but bloody hell, look how tight it is. Preston are ninth in the table. Don't count Preston out because even though they're ninth, and even though they're quite the gap, I think there's 5 points. Don't count them out because they've been on some really good form. Yes, they did lose to Stoke, but then they bounced back with a win. Middlesbrough, 54 points. And yes, you might be saying, Middlesbrough, they're not going to make the league playoff, but it is so close. Literally, look at that. Between 6th and 10th, it is literally a 7-point gap. 7 points. That's actually like 2 wins and a draw. That's crazy. Now on to Cardiff City. Cardiff City, some interesting form. They were on some really good form. I think they were the best form side. But then they lost to Swansea 2-0, which I predicted a 2-0 win for Swansea. So, that's pretty good. But I feel like they already get playoffs because I feel like playoffs is kind of a bit done. 53 points compared to 61 points. With only 8 games left in the season. I feel like they won't get playoffs, but they'll definitely fight for it. I mean, they have been fighting for it, and they've been good. Now, 12th Sunderland. I feel like Sunderland. I only included Sunderland and Watford because there's an outsider's chance. Obviously, there's a 5-point gap between Cardiff and Sunderland right there. Sunderland have been in some terrible form. Absolutely terrible form. Yes, they did manage to draw, but it still doesn't take away how bad their form has been. I don't think they're going to get the playoffs. Sunderland very well impressed me also last season, but 12th place with 8 games to go and in some bad form. I don't see them going. Now Watford, I literally only included Watford because Watford are drawn with points on Sunderland, and I wanted to include Sunderland, so it's fair. Okay. So Watford have been in some bad form as well, but yes, just wait for me. They won their first game in like forever, and yeah. Yes, it is against Birmingham. Yes, Birmingham are like 24th in the table, or bloody like about to get relegated in 2 weeks. But it is a win, and a win is a win. No, this new manager bounce. I'm thinking. I mean, if Watford start winning like the next 4 games, or even 3 wins and a draw, or even 2 wins and 2 draws, it could be really up for grabs in this race. So, tell me what do you think down below. Who you think is going to get to the playoffs? And yeah, it might be a bit crazy that I'm chucking in 13th place, but I mean, anything can happen. It is the championship. And tomorrow, or in the next couple of days, this week, I am going to be doing at the bottom of the table because it's getting very interesting, very spicy at the end of the table, at the bottom of the table, I should say. Yeah, thank you for watching. Comment any videos down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.